Stage 4 heralded the mid-race time trial. The mood at the start line was tense, with the UCI men and women going off first. With the race against the clock, there would be nowhere to hide. The strongest would thrive, while anyone feeling a hint of weakness would be exposed by the race of truth. A maxim riders often repeat in situations like this is that fun is fast. The single-track packed route would provide entertainment aplenty and watts from trail thrills. Elgin is primarily a fruit-producing region, famed for its apples, which are exported and prized throughout the world. Its cool climate, with wet winters and sporadic summer rains and deep soils, makes it ideal for large-scale fruit farming. But that terroir also provides a perfect template for mountain biking. The farms of the region embraced mountain biking in the mid-2000s and started to build single tracks. Now, a vast network of trails crisscrosses the valley, climbing and descending through the strips of forest which separate the orchards and vineyards. Fynbos single tracks await in the foothills of the Hottentots-Holland Mountains, named after the snakes which slither between the stems and rocks. Bergadder, Pafadder and Boomslang are some of the area's most iconic trails, as are Witklippies, Rietvlei, Sounds of Silence and Vissie's Magic. The midweek time trial provided the perfect opportunity to reflect on the race to this point. The week began in Mirandal with another time trial. The prologue featured a hard-packed and fast-paced course which suited the powerful Toyota Specialized 91 pairing of Matt Beers and Chris Blevins. The 2022 third-place finishers started the 2023 race in the same way they begun the previous edition 12 months before, with a stage win. Scott SRAM's Nino Schurten and Frischnecht was second on the stage, just 7 seconds down, with the defending champions Orbea Leert Speed Company posting the third fastest time. Stage 1 started and finished in Hermanus, featuring a 98-kilometre course through the Himmel and Arda Valley. It provided Lucas Baum and Gao Gega with the terrain they required to launch a series of scorching attacks, none of which they were able to make stick. But they were able to put Blevins, who was struggling with a stomach bug, in trouble. Toyota Specialized 91 lost 8 minutes and their yellow jerseys, while Willia Pirelli Factory survived the accelerations and gale force winds to surge to a stage victory ahead of Schurter and Frischnecht. The result handed Scott SRAM the yellow Chivita leaders' jerseys, ahead of the men who had finished third on the stage, Orbea Leert Speed Company. The following day presented the longest stage of the race and a 116-kilometre route towards the east of Hermanus. Blevins had bounced back from his illness the day before and took the racing to the rest of the elite men's field. The course ensured that the group was slowly whittled down, while Schurter had a near miss with a fallow deer. On the run back to Hermanus, Willia Pirelli punctured, and Orbea Leert Speed Company got bogged down in the sand. Toyota Specialized 91 allowed Scott SRAM to build on their general classification advantage over Baum and Egger before outfoxing Schurter and Frischnecht to win the stage. Stage 3 was the first transition stage of the race. It took teams from the coast in Hermanus inland to Oak Valley in Elgin. The 100-kilometre route featured 2,300 metres of climbing. Yet, despite the toughness of the stage, a group of 4 teams entered the finale together. Orbea Leert Speed Company, Willia Pirelli Factory, Toyota Specialized 91 and Scott SRAM looked set to contest a fierce sprint finish when Frischnecht began to struggle. Dropping into the final single track off the group, the men in yellow were happy to just nullify time losses. Ahead, Beers kicked into the last trail first, with Blevins on his wheel. The American backed off to allow Beers to establish a buffer, then sprinted to victory ahead of a fuming Baum and Egger. After 4 days of racing, Scott SRAM led the 2023 Absa Cape Epic by 3 minutes and 12 seconds over Orbea Leert Speed Company. Willia Pirelli Factory were third, 2 minutes and 43 ahead of a resurgent Toyota Specialized 91 team. In the CM.com UCI women's race, the prologue set the scene for a 3-way tussle for top honours. The 91 Songo Specialized combination stormed to stage honours after starting relatively steadily. Sofia Gomez-Villafan and Katarina Nash utilised their single-track prowess to seize the first orange jerseys of the race. Behind them, efficient Infinity Insures Vera Lossa and Kim LeCourt posted the third fastest time. They were just 7 seconds slower than the day's victors. E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. were third on the stage after Amy Wakefield hit the deck inside the final kilometres. Stage 1 produced high drama. First Lorsa crashed, then had to stop to fix her shoe with duct tape. Duct tape made another appearance 15 kilometers later when Wakefield crashed into a freshly pruned fruit tree. The branch pierced her bicep in dramatic fashion. Her E4.net Seattle Coffee Co partner Lil taped her arm up before leading the charge in pursuit of 91 Songo Specialized. Wakefield and Lil caught and then passed Gomez, Viafan and Nash before racing away to stage honours. In so doing, resting the orange jerseys off the shoulders of the 91 Songo Specialized team. The following day saw the race largely neutralised by the flat run in to and back from the Stanford trails. In the Paardenburg, the racing was entertaining, but the teams in the CM.com women's competition were content to bide their time for the final kick on the tracks behind Hermanus. Lorsa exploited a moment of weakness from Gomez Viafan to slip off the front of the group. Once the trail opened out to road, Lecourt attacked, bearing herself in pursuit of her teammate. Having bridged across, the Mauritian was able to ride home with her Namibian teammate in order to claim the efficient Infinity Insure team's maiden Absa Cape Epic stage victory. Stage 3, 2 days after her crash, saw Wakefield more confident of her ability to race with her injury. As such, the E4.net Seattle Coffee Co team were able to push the pace, with Lil driving the tempo to put Gomez, Viafan, Nash, Lorsa and Lecourt under pressure. In the second half of the stage, first the efficient Infinity Insure and then the 91 Songo Specialized teams dropped off the pace, which allowed the women in the CM.com orange jerseys to further extend their general classification advantage. Going into stage 4, there was an 8 minute and 21 second difference between E4.net Seattle Coffee Co and 91 Songo Specialized. Efficient Infinity Insure were 19 minutes off the lead. The time trial course was a long one at 47 kilometers. Stage 4's punchy course featured 875 meters of climbing, with short but testing ascents up to the summits of Rietvlei, Magic and Witklippies. The climbs were rocky and technical in places, while the single-track descents were fast and flowing. Highlights for the speedsters included Puff Adder, Vissie's Magic and the Sounds of Silence Toyota Tough section. The route rewarded the strongest teams and punished those on the slide. Racing against the clock is never easy. Judging one's efforts can prove difficult, and motivation has to come from being willing to suffer.
I think the guys that are out here that's mentally ready and want to smash the stage can take quite some time on it. I think we're still going to be out there over an hour and a half, so there is a lot of opportunity to make up some time. And it depends on what teams target the stage and what teams want to take it as a recovery day.
The Page Eurosteel team, despite their strong and consistent race thus far, did not have the best time trial. Philip Bass and Alex Miller finished the day 7 minutes off the pace. Bulls Heroes and Toyota Specialized 91-2 had better days in the race of truth than had been their general level throughout the race thus far. Urs Huber and Simon Schneller used the opportunity to force their way up the overall standings, while Tristan Norkier and Adrian Boisches were simply happy to have a more competitive day. Pedregal 7C Economy, Cannondale Vas Harabe and Buff Megamo were likewise strong across the 47-kilometer course. Carlos Herrera Arroyo and Luis Meyer, Roberto Beaumartin and Miguel Munoz Moreno, as well as Hans Becking and Jose Diaz, all have times to make up on the general classification standings. The strong showing during the time trial will help them take positive momentum into the second half of the race. The same is true for Imbuko Taitev. Marco Hubert and Peter Dutoy were the best of the rest on the time trial, setting the time to beat for the teams challenging for stage victory before watching as the top 5 on the general classification all bested their efforts. The performance and result augurs well for the 2022 Absa African Jersey winners as they seek to take the fight to Page Eurosteel over the coming days. Further down the CM.com UCI women's standings, a group of working heroines were locked in a four-way battle for 10th position. With precious little Absa Cape Epic experience between them, they were racing their hearts out, but also trying to make the most of the memories.
So we're racing, there are about 4 teams, 4 of us who aren't full-time professionals. We have full-time jobs, so we're like the last 4 teams in the UCI field. And it's been pretty exciting because we're all in quite close competition. We've had a bit of yo-yoing in the positions. Every day it's like a little bit of a fight for that top 10 spot because we're currently lying 10th. And it's just been fantastic. The trails have been so much fun. Riding places that I haven't been before, so I'm absolutely loving it.
The majority of the 4 squads had spent much of the build-up to the Absa Cape Epic racing against each other or going on training rides together. So the race has presented interesting competition for a group who are friends first and foremost. As the stages have progressed, the small gaps in conditioning and skill have started to amplify, allowing Echo Pentest Taryn Povey and Kylie Hanekom to emerge as favourites for 10th place. They will, however, have to keep performing as they did on Stage 4's time trial in order to remain ahead of CSE's Robin Williams and Linda Hitchings, as well as Nicola Freitas and Rita Mostert of Garden Route Cycling Tours, and the RA Cycles team of Juanita McKenzie and Sarita Lowe. Ahead of this group, there is an ever-expanding tussle for the minor places within the top 5. Initially, 4th itself was hotly contested too, but gradually Cannondale Vasarabe's Greta Steinberg and Monica Juliana Calderon have ridden themselves into pole position for the first non-podium place. Behind them on the Stage 4 time trial, the 8 Capital and Valley Electoral teams are exceptionally well matched. Janka Kesek-Stefkova and Martina Kahulkova finished just 4 seconds ahead of Tiffany Keep and Hayley Preen. The best of performance, Shian Tamed and Dika Viva Vita teams were nearly equally well matched over the loop through Oak Valley and Paul Kluver's trails. Just 5 minutes separated Steph Walters, Yolanda de Villiers, Sarah Hill, Elrika Hamzen Pretorius, Eunice Venter and Sophie Johnson on the day. Yet that was enough to provide a minor general classification reshuffle. For the men chasing the top step of the general classification podium at Val de Vie, Stage 4 had always been earmarked as a pivotal stage.
Today May is our day because we can put pressure to the pedal from the beginning on, and the others could not profit from our slipstream. So and there are 3 more days after today, so I think the race is still open and we try fighting.
Yeah, of course the emotions are high after a stage like yesterday when you get prevented of making some time to the GC. To the leaders, but that's just extra motivation to push the pedals down today.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just fun racing, and quite honestly, I mean, we won the climb to the top of the single track, and the race was kind of over at that point. We just dug deep and kind of moved to the front at the right time. It was an absolute drag race up that last climb. We hit the single track, Matt had the flat. I just gave him a little extra room in the corner, but at that point, with the way that the finish was, the race was decided. So, there's a little bit of luck always, but there's also skill and tactics, and I think we use those to our advantage. And I understand the frustration, but it's racing, and we'll have 3 more days to do it, so it's all good.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, cheers. Thanks.
Witklippies Factory were the 5th fastest team on Stage 4. Wout Alleman struggled on Stage 3 to maintain a high tempo early in the day before coming back strong after the 50-kilometre mark. The 47-kilometre time trial was thus always likely to be an issue for the Belgian. His European marathon champion teammate Fabian Ravensteiner was called upon to help pace Alleman through the route. His efforts were not enough, however, to avoid conceding 4 minutes and 46 seconds to the day's stage winners. This cost the Witklippies Factory pairing a general classification position, which will be difficult to make up over the remaining 3 days. The Canyon Northwave team came into the 2023 Absa Cape Epic among the favourites for the title. 2021 world champion Andres Siewold and his Czech partner Martin Stosik have had minor incidents of bad luck, like a puncture on Stage 3, but they've not lost tens of minutes to mechanicals. The time trial proved once again that they simply do not quite have the form to contest for victory this year. They are, however, still an exceptionally classy combination. Despite their struggles, they finished with the 4th fastest time of the stage, edging out Willia Pirelli Factory and also passing the Italian friends and their Canyon Northweight stablemates Peter Bakoch and Mark Stutzman, who had started 2 and 4 minutes ahead of them respectively. Scott SRAM had their worst day of the race thus far during the time trial. Though they had finished 4th the day before, they had not conceded any time. On stage 4, they hemorrhaged seconds and bled minutes to 2 of their key rivals. Having set out at a steady pace, they were 80 seconds behind the early pace setters Aubert Liet Speed Company within the first 10 kilometres. Despite upping their pace over the 37 kilometres which followed, Nino Schurter and André Frischknecht continued to lose time. The pair eventually finished in 3rd, but more importantly 2 minutes and 23 seconds behind the stage winners, as well as 2 minutes and 1 second behind the men who finished in 2nd. Schurter and Frischknecht's bad day in the office handed Aubert Liet Speed Company the momentum heading into the Queen stage. Lucas Baum had been bullish in his pre-stage interview, which he and Georg Egger backed up on the trails. They tore through the first half of the course before conceding a handful of seconds to the stage winners over the back half. Going out strong in the win nearly paid off for the hard-charging pair, but in not being able to claim the stage victory, one has to wonder if they will have to split their focus between chasing down Scott SRAM and worrying about Toyota Specialized 91 racing the final weekend a la Speed Company Racing. For the 4th time in 5 stages, Matt Beers and Chris Blevins ended the day atop the stage podium. The Toyota Specialized 91 men started fast and finished faster, ramping up their efforts in the mid-section of the stage as they hunted down the day's fastest times. Having rolled off the start ramp before Willia Pirelli Factory, Aubert Liet Speed Company and Scott SRAM, the day's victors had no time checks to judge their efforts by. They simply had to race full gas and hope that was enough. Blevins in particular was immense in setting a ferocious tempo that Beers had no option but to follow. Once again, local knowledge of the trails aided the Toyota Specialized 91 team as they flew through the single tracks. The pair eventually stopped the clock in a time of 1 hour 45 minutes and 9 seconds. The day's results saw Beers and Blevins joined on the podium by Baum and Egger and Schurter and Frischknecht. Schurter and Frischknecht's grip on the yellow jerseys loosened somewhat, but they are still in the lead. Aside from the usual suspects in the top 5, the day's noteworthy performance was by Mbuka Type Dev's South African pair Marco Hubert and Peter de Toy in 6th. The general classification battle has got significantly tighter after the time trial stage, with Scott SRAM's lead down to just 1 minute and 11.5 seconds.
Yeah, so today went pretty smooth. We both felt good. I didn't thought that we gonna gain so much time because Andre and Nino, they're quite strong in the single tracks. But I think we had our advantage was the strong wind, because we are in the flat sections and the windy sections we are probably better. So yeah, it was quite good. Only 1 minute 15 or something like that in the GC. Yeah, 3 more days to go. Yeah, we tried to keep the jersey or get it. Yeah.
We had, I think, a good pacing, because for sure we lost some time to the middle of the stage, but then after that we kind of kept the pace and didn't lose any time. So that was a good strategy. For sure we lost some time, but I actually didn't have to go to the really red today, because Nino was doing the pace perfectly for me, and I'm looking forward for tomorrow.
For the women atop the CM.com UCI race standings, the Stage 4 time trial was a significant opportunity to make or concede time.
It's a shorter day, but probably harder on the body, because you're going to push harder than the longer endurance days. I think just stay safe, and as it's always our first goal, and finish the day and have a longer recovery afterwards. So looking forward to that. Hopefully the rain doesn't catch us.
I must say I really appreciated the extra sleep, even though it still felt early. Yesterday was a big day. But we're ready to go. Luckily a bit of a shorter day, but I'm sure it's going to be just as hard.
You just don't know really how you're doing. Obviously, if a team catches you or you catch a team, you kind of get a gauge, but Yeah, time trials are the worst. So I was a little bit shocked when I saw this midweek time trial, and then I got told that it's actually a standard thing. It's just the past few that I've done, they decided to exclude it. But yeah, it should be good racing.
91 Songo Specialized did not enjoy the best of days out on the trails of Oak Valley and Paul Kluwer. With no carrot to visually chase, Sophia Gomez-Viefan and Katharina Nash measured their efforts as best they could. Yet they could not produce an effort to equal their opening time trial in Mirandal during the prologue. Despite Nash's silky smooth single-track skills, the manicured downhills of Elgin did not provide her with much opportunity to make up time on her rivals there. She and Gomez-Viefan had to rely more on power, which, worryingly for them, they could not produce in sufficient force to match E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. and Efficient Infinity Insure. The only positive for the erstwhile CM.com orange jersey wearers was that Amy Wakefield and Candice Lill did not take greater advantage of their off day. E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. rode fast and consistently, but never took any risks. The women's race leaders were still able to extend their advantage over Gomez-Viefan and Nash by 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Despite the concern over Wakefield's arm and how she might hold up later in the week, every day ticked off is a day she and Lil are closer to Val de Vie. It also doesn't appear that the surgery which she received is unduly bothering her or affecting her ability in the trails. E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. will have to be wary of the momentum Vera Lossa and Kim LaCourte gained by winning the time trial. The Efficient Infinity Insure team showed during the prologue that they are not to be disregarded against the clock. On the Stage 4 time trial, they doubled down on that effort, storming through each checkpoint in the fastest time. Even a minor spill by Lossa did not slow. Rather, they continued to work well as a team and powered to victory by an impressive 2 minutes and 52 seconds over Wakefield and Lil. Perhaps more importantly in the short term, they made up 5 minutes on 91 Songo Specialized. The stage victory was Lossa and LaCourte's second of the race after Stage 1. Lil and Wakefield pulled on the orange CM.com UCI women's leaders jerseys for the 4th time after the stage. Efficient Infinity Insure's winning time was 2 hours, 9 minutes and 32 seconds. The general classification standings after Stage 4 saw E4.net Seattle Coffee Co. leading by 10 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah, well, I think today you could have looked at it from a few angles. It could have been a real big day to make time, but I think the racing up until now has been pretty hard and everyone's feeling it already. So I think it's about management and how you can get the best out of the team.
Yeah, it's a really intense stage because, obviously nobody knows where the other teams are, and it's a time trial. You just have to go all out. But it was a beautiful stage. Thank you to the local community for sharing their trails with us. It was really neat out there. Yeah.
At the halfway point in the race, the NTT Master category leaders enjoyed, or rather endured, an eventful day. Mike Posthumus and Craig Uriah, the Restonic team, had been wearing the blue jerseys since the conclusion of Stage 1. But Stage 4 provided them with a scare in the final kilometres. After powering through the course, Posthumus's cassette disengaged, leaving him to have to rely on Uriah for a tow home. However, managed to retain their leaders' jerseys, but now have Carl Platt and Thomas Misa Villaseca breathing down their necks. The Grand Masters competition was a less tense affair for Bart Brenchens and Abrao Azevedo. The KMC MTB team continued their race to victory, but they're adding a 4th stage win to their 2023 haul and taking their age category total over their careers to a massive 46 victories. The amateur category leaders, though, were nowhere near as dominant in as sustained a fashion, but given this is their Absa Cape Epic debut, that's hardly their fault. They had a stellar day. Mitchell Docker and Ian Boswell have been flawless in this race thus far. As a result, they comfortably lead their competition, while Posthumus and Uriah's advantage is down to just under 13 minutes. The Queen stage of the 2023 Absa Cape Epic takes the teams up the fabled Green Mountain, Groenlandberg. Stage 5 is also the second transition stage of the race. Starting in Oak Valley, it heads east towards Tierkop before ascending Groenlandberg from the alternative approach. The route then descends in a westerly direction, loops around the back of the Eikenhof Dam and ascends the A to Z trails towards the Gantu Pass. The portage leads into the Helderberg Basin before continuing west across Vergelegen towards the stage's finish at Lawrenceford Wine Estate. In total, the Queen Stage features 102 kilometers of racing and 2,450 meters of elevation gain.